Hi, thank you everybody for joining. We're so excited to see you. I see that it's 3 o'clock Central Time on my clock, so we're going to get started. And thank you so much for attending our webinar today, Ace Your Assessments with GW, an easier way to assign, assess, and auto-grade. My name is Abby Hess, and I'm a product marketing manager at GW Publisher. GW provides print and digital resources for courses that prepare students for their future careers in wellness. And before we get started, just a few housekeeping items for today's webinar. You're currently in listen-only mode, but we still want to hear from you. So if you've used Teams before or Zoom or something like it, you'll see that there is an icon for chat. So please be sure to enter any comments, questions, and ideas in that chat box. We will spend time at the end of the session to answer any questions that we might not be able to get to as we're going through the presentation. But we do have two colleagues, both Kathy and Zin, will be monitoring that chat box throughout the session. So they might be able to answer your question immediately, or they can at least make sure that we address that at the end. So feel free to put any ideas, questions in the chat, and we'll have that Q&A near the end. So if you've used GW textbooks or online resources in the past, which I believe it's very likely that you have if you're on this call or listening to this webinar, you know that for each of our products, our online instructor resources include test banks, as well as customizable lesson plans, PowerPoint presentations, correlations to national standards or industry certifications that might be related to your course, and more. We want to make sure that you're up and running for your fall courses, and that's why we want to share with you today an exciting new tool available for our Copyright 2026 titles, which published last year, and all of our titles that will be published moving forward. Today, we're going to show you our new cloud-based assessment platform, GW Assessment, which seamlessly integrates with your school's learning management system. No more downloads, uploads, or imports are needed with GW Assessment. One quick click will take you directly into it. And when you registered for this webinar, you were asked what is the most important thing that you want to be able to do with your assessments, or what's the most important thing you want to make sure we cover today. So I wanted to share some of those things that you and your peers had shared with us when you were registering for this. And this was really helpful for us to see. I know we'll be able to address all of these things. And if one of these was something you want to see and you want us to do that at the end, if you feel like we didn't cover it, make sure that we do. But maybe this aligns with your needs as well. Ease of use and accessibility, that the assessments are easy to access for you and your students, that there are quality questions that are really, assessing students on the knowledge they need to go into their career field. The ability to share those assessments out amongst other instructors, the ease of assigning and then grading those questions, being able to pick and choose your own questions. So some of us like the assessments as is, we just are able to assign and use those, but some of us might want to pick specific questions, or maybe even have a midterm assessment or a final assessment where you're pulling questions out of multiple chapters, and we'll be able to show you how to do those things today in GW Assessment. Creating multiple versions of assessments. So if you are going to have your students sitting next to each other and taking that test side by side, maybe you want a version A and B or a version A, B, and C, we can show you how to be able to do that as well. Immediate feedback for your students and probably for yourself. And then maintaining control of your assessments, as well as the history of the grades. So these were all awesome things. If there's anything else, maybe you didn't get a chance to fill that out when you registered, or other things are coming to mind, please pop those in the chat of things that you want to be able to do with your assessments in the classroom, or that you want us to cover today, and we'll do our best to be able to do that for you. So GW Assessment, which we'll go into live very shortly, makes it easy to create, customize, assign pre-built questions and tests from the test banks for your GW title. Questions are available in matching, completion, multiple choice, and short answer formats. And while you're reviewing those questions, you'll be able to easily filter and search for questions based on the question type, as well as the learning outcome in your course. Better yet, because GW Assessment is cloud-based, you'll always have access to updated or revised questions throughout the course of your adoption, so you can stay current with the latest assessments from GW. So shortly, our Senior Digital Solutions Specialist, Christina Thomas, pictured here, will walk you through the platform live. Christina and her team are always available to support our educators as you prepare for the school year and while you're in class with your students. Our Digital Solutions Specialists are prepared to answer questions you may have about GW assessment, your other instructor resources, integration into your school's learning management system, or the student-facing digital activities that might be available for your GW titles. And so we have some URLs here on the screen of where you can quickly get to some pre-recorded training for specific career clusters, program areas, or even titles. How-to guides that are very step-by-step often include visuals as well as videos to help guide you with the assets that you might have with your course, and the link to be able to submit a support ticket if you really need to talk to someone one-on-one or you have something that you want to share with us. At the end of this presentation, I'll have a QR code and we'll enter that link again and make sure that you guys have access to that if you ever need that kind of support. If anyone has ever worked with Christina one-on-one or any of our other digital solutions specialists and you just want to say a hello or a thank you or a call out to them, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. So feel free to put that in the chat as well. So Christina will show you how you can access GW assessment for our copyright 26 titles today. One of those things that multiple people said was, I want my assessments to be easy to access for me and my students. And GW assessment really does that for you. You can access GW assessment if you have access to the online instructor resources for one of our newer titles that was a copyright 2026. You can do that today in the same place where you would access your other digital resources for your course. And we have a screenshot of that here at our online textbooks website. You also will be able to, and Christina will show you this, access GW assessment from your learning management system if that is how your students are accessing GW content and if that's the purchase that your students or your school has made. So Christina will walk you through what GW assessment looks like in Canvas as well today. Along with our GW content, digital activities, and instructor resources, GW assessments can be integrated into your school's learning management system. If you do decide to integrate GW content into your learning management system, maybe your school uses Canvas or Blackboard or D2L or Schoology, and you just haven't done that yet, you know, it'll be really good for you to see some of the additional functionality that you receive if you are integrating into your learning management system. If you do that, your students will be able to take their assessments online. And online delivery offers auto grading and advanced reporting so you can track student scores on each assessment, as well as their progress against course learning outcomes. When integrated into an LMS like Canvas, Blackboard, Schoology, or Moodle, your students' scores on GW assessments will flow straight to your learning management system gradebook. And so without further ado, let's get in live and see this for real. So Christina, please take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Abby, and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today for the GW assessment webinar. There are two different access types that I will be going over with you today. The first is how to access GW assessment if you are a GW online user. So if you receive an online instructor access code and you get to view all of our fabulous digital assets on our websites, that is one way. And as Abby said, another way is through an LMS. And while we integrate into many LMSs, I will focus on Canvas today, as that is one of the more popular ones for both the secondary and post-secondary markets. So I will go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to begin with those GW online users. So this may be familiar to many of you, and if it's not, this is our website, g-wonlinetextbooks.com. And the steps that you would follow in order to access GW assessments would be to first make sure that you receive an access code that will be sent to you from our customer service department. And this would be where you would enter that access code. So this is to activate your subscription for the entire book. The assessments is not separate. It is just accessing the book by redeeming this code. So I'm going to go ahead and redeem this code. And this gives me access to print reading for industry. And now this will appear on what we like to call our bookshelf, our dashboard, for example. When I'm ready to view all of the digital assets that come with this title, I will go ahead and click on that online instructor resources to see all of these items here. What is new and what we're focusing on today is that GW assessment piece, which if you have used our products previously, you will notice is very new for this copyright. When you click on GW assessment, you will see a button to access GW assessment. And so we'll begin by clicking on that button. And I think because I'm already in here, it just plopped me in there right away. So I'd like to walk through this with you so you can see all of those steps. So we can log out and see if that'll work this time. I'm going to do that again. Thanks for bearing with me. Yeah, it's going to allow me to go through, but we have knowledge-based articles that will show you exactly what you're going to do. And in fact, I have one up because I just wanted to make sure that you knew that everything that I'm walking through today, you will be able to have access to view as well, every single step. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what this will look like for those new users. What's nice is that once you activate one subscription, you won't have to go through these steps again if you add additional titles. So you will have clicked on GW assessment, and then you'll be asked to select a state. So, if you're in Texas, you'll choose Texas. After that, you're going to see an option to select your institution. So there will be a number of items of institutions that should have access to GW assessment. You'll choose yours and then activate GW assessment. However, if you cannot find your institution, there is a link right here that will direct you to our customer support. And then you just say, hey, I have an access code. I should be able to access the 2026 titles, but I don't see my institution there. Please assist, and we'll be happy to reach out to you as soon as possible. Once you continue to activate the subscription to access the assessment portal, you will just need to go ahead and confirm that you agree to the terms of use, continue to GW assessment, and then you will be able to view the dashboard right here. So just to pinpoint a few items that you will notice on GW assessment. First, you are going to see My Classrooms right in the beginning, at the top of the dashboard. If you are a GW online user, you will not need to create any classrooms or anything, okay? Because those GW online users, they get access to print copies, as well as being able to have a PDF file of the test. So it is really those print users and those users that just want to take our tests as is, and they will have access to be able to send those PDF assessments to their students digitally if they choose to do that. So no classrooms necessary, and that is all pointed out in our knowledge-based articles as well. On the right-hand side, you're going to see My Library. Now, I have access to 2 different 2026 copyrights. And if I had more, the list would just keep growing. But for now, I just have 2 right here in this user. So I'm going to go to print reading for industry. What's really great is that GW Publisher has already created pre-tests, post-tests, and exam assessments for your use. So if you are somebody that likes to just come right in, print the assessment that we have created for you, you can very easily do that. And then for those users that like to customize and meet the needs of their students, you also have the ability to do that, and we're going to go over that as well. So to begin, for those users that just want to get in here, print it as is, what you can do is you can go to, let's say, Unit 1, you want to view the pretest. You can click right here to be able to view it this way. There's a couple different ways. See the question and the answer choices. You'll see how many questions are in this exam. If you want to take a quick peek at the next question, you just hit the next button, and next and next. Now, let's say that you finish. Okay. Let's say that you would like to go back and view the exam, which always has lots more assessments. This one in particular has 24 assessments. Okay, you can do that. And then if you are scrolling through and you decide, oh, I really like this question, I'm going to save this one, you can actually kind of bookmark it or flag it as they have that icon there for you. And you can keep going. And let's say, oh, you really like this one, you want to flag that for future use as well. You can just have a list of those items or questions that were flagged. And then what we can do here is we can print directly from this view, or you can go back to your library, and then you can print directly from this view. So this view has all of the units, all of the chapters. And then you can also search if you wanted to narrow down that long list. For example, let's say I just want to view Unit 4. We can do that as well. Or it does not want to do that. It wants to show everything. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the print option. I wanted to show you a couple different ways that you could actually set up the document that will be printed of the assessments that just are as is, no customization. So for starters, there are a couple different font options. You can stick with Times New Roman, and then there's a couple here. You can go ahead and shuffle the question order. We do have that option here. You can choose to just print the assessment here, or you can choose to print the answer key with the assessment. That is up to you. And then you can also, this one's really nice. Let's say that the assessment has, 40 questions. That's going to be a lot of paper, and a lot of teachers would like to just condense that amount of paper. They can actually choose to view a dual column layout. So I'm going to start by just showing you what it looks like as is. And then I'm going to show you that dual column layout because I like that and want to make sure that you're aware of that if you'd like to have fewer pages. It's opening up on my other screen, so let me bring that over here. All right, so this is what it would look like if you were going to print it as is to give to your students, paper pencil, or to save it as a PDF and you can send it to them digitally as well. All right, so you can see there's 8 pages here. So if we would like to condense that a bit, you can go ahead and use that dual column layout, generate that. And then we'll see what that looks like. And then you can see that would be less pages and 2 columns. I feel it's a decent stopping point. Were there any questions about anything that we've gone over so far before I continue to move on into the customization?
Christina, there are no questions in the chat yet, but would you mind just hitting that print button one more time? I just wanted to call out some of the things that people were interested in. So what Christina showed you, some of you had mentioned prior hand that you want to be able to print out your assessments and how students take them by hand sometimes. So what she showed you is how you could do that. Using that dual column layout will probably cut the number of pages in half. So if you want to spend less time at the copier, not use as much paper, that's a great option to choose. And then the other thing is she showed how you can shuffle question order. So I think at least a few people said they're interested in having multiple versions of their test. This is one way you could do that. If you want to use all of the questions that are included as is, you want all your students to ultimately answer the same questions, then you could just print this out once, then come back in, click shuffle question order, and print it out again to have a version A and a version B that have all the same questions, just a different order, so that if your students are sitting side by side, my question 3 is not going to be the same as the person next to me. Another way you might want to do that, you might say, no, I want multiple versions of my assessment where I do want students to have different questions from each other, but they're testing them on the same skill or the same learning outcome. When Christina goes in next to show you how you can further customize your assessments, she'll show you how you can see that there are multiple questions per learning outcome. So you could create a version A, version B, where students are still proving the same kind of knowledge, but they have a wholly separate question. And I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back to library. So I'm going to go back to print reading. So let's say that I would like to create an assessment. This is completely from scratch. I would like to pick and choose a couple items from a couple different chapters or units, depending on the book I'm using. I'm going to start from scratch. So I am going to give this a title of Christina's. All right, and then I'm going to browse items. So there's a really nice filter feature here. So just in case you are someone that has a couple different books, you might have the opportunity to choose the book that you want, but we're already in the print reading, so it's showing that right off the bat. So what we have here is the different units. Okay, so let's say I want to choose a couple questions from the first 3 units. I'm going to create my own exam. Now, all of those are going to show here. So I can scroll down, read each one of these if I like, or I can search up here if I would like to do that as well. So far, there are 66 questions within those first 3 chapters or units that I am looking for. So I'm just going to pick and choose a couple here just to get started. Okay, and I am going to select these 5 to add into my assessment. So far I have 5, but I would like to add a few more. So I'm going to browse items again, and instead of choosing by the unit or the chapter, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to specifically choose a question type of interest. I would like to choose, let's see, I think I'm going to choose Unit 5, and I'm going to choose multiple choice. Okay, Unit 5, multiple choice. So those are going to appear right here. So now I'm going to scroll down and pick and choose a couple that I want. Yep. That is good. Okay, I'm going to select these 3. Now this one, and this is my favorite, and I believe I saw a few people interested in this as well. They would like to choose a couple questions by learning outcome. Make sure the students are learning what is intended. So what I would do is I would select the unit of interest, and I'm going to go back to one that I've already chosen. And I am going to look by learning objective. So there are a number of learning objectives here, and I want to see, let's see, 5.1 and 5.3, and those are all right here. Let me throw in 5.2 as well.
Hey, Christina, can I just jump in too? I know one of the things that you guys were interested in was making sure that the questions you are choosing for your assessments are quality questions that are truly going to prove that students have knowledge or understanding that they need for their careers. So when you're browsing by learning outcomes, if you have the hard copy textbook right next to you of this print reading for industry or whatever GW title you have, or you're looking on your computer at the online textbook, all of our chapters are going to begin with those learning outcomes listed that students will be learning within the content and within the activities of that chapter. So if you want to be able to reference what those learning outcomes are, you can do that. Oh, she's also going to show you a lesson plan. But one of the amazing things that our authors and our editors have been working on our products is to ensure that every assessment question is aligned to a learning outcome. So these questions that you'll be browsing aren't just there because we thought that they were interesting or fun. They really have been well thought out to make sure that there are multiple chances for you to test student knowledge on those learning outcomes that really matter for your industry's credentials, or that what industry is telling us, or what may be needed in your curriculum. So thanks, Christina.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, love having the book next to you. And I was thinking if you had to do everything digitally, you might want to open that lesson plan that's in the instructor resources. And then you can see, well, what is Learning Objective 1.5? And then you have that right here. So that's just a little kind of workflow suggestion. And I wanted to bring to your attention, if you did search by the Learning Objective, and you notice that there is a checkbox that's grayed out, that just means that you already have this one in your assessment. So nothing's wrong with that. It just means it's already in there. No need to add it again. And so let's just round this out with a few more questions and select these items. And now I have a nice assessment with 10 items here. A couple other features that you can see in this view is it will reveal the answer for you right here. Just so you can see as you're scrolling through, you know, what the answer is, etc. And so I'll go ahead and save that assessment. This was mine created from scratch. So far we have using them as is, what GW has created them, how GW has created them, and also creating them from scratch from the start, kind of looking at all of our units as item banks. What you will notice from your library is that there are the titles that you have access to, and now you will also see the assessments that you create. So here's Christina's assessment right here. I can preview Christina's assessments, go through it, and then I can also print her assessment and go back to either doing that dual column layout or shuffle question order, etc. All right, so that's how to create an assessment from scratch using all that are available. And then the next feature I'd like to show you is how to edit what is there. Maybe you want to customize it a little bit, but you don't want to start from scratch, and that is perfectly fine as well. So let's say in Unit 1, I want to take a look at the post-test assessment. The first thing you're going to want to do is to copy this to your library. So you have a library of all the assessments you create. Copy this to your library and go ahead and give it a unique name. So I'll just add CT July 16, because I have many sample assessments in here that make this unique. We're going to copy assessment. And so this one has 5. So a couple different things that you can do. If you're ready to edit, you can go ahead and select edit. And then let me just bring your attention to a few of the features in here. We have now the option to browse items, which we've already gone over, but there are some other items as well, features that you can use. So for this first question, you're going to notice that there are 3 dots to the right. And then there are some items, different features, excuse me, to either swap this item or customize this item further, or you can also delete it. Maybe you changed your mind about wanting that one. So I am going to select swap item. And if you want to swap it, just remove the one that's in there and go choose another one from another unit, another section of that first unit. That will work too. So here again, I have access to a couple titles, so I want to make sure you're in the right title. And then we're going to select that chapter that we are currently in. You want to go ahead, if you wanted to search for specific ones by learning outcome, you can, again, choose the book under learning objective and then choose to add like 1.8, 1.9, and then that reveals a few more. And then perhaps you decide, you know what, I want to swap that one with this one. Let's swap that one. Yep, that's the one I want to swap. So we're going to select one item. And now we swapped that one out. Another option is to customize a question or item that's already there. So I'll select that, make a copy of this item to make changes. Okay, we'll make a copy.
And just as Christina's doing this, the reason why customizing a question or even customizing an assessment technically makes a copy is because if she wants to change something in this question, you still have the original version of the question available to you should you ever want to use that. So that's why it's making a copy.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So to customize this a bit further, here's where you can just get right down to like the text itself. So if you just wanted to change the verbiage here, you can feel free to go ahead, delete it, and make the change that you want. If you decide that, you know what, I actually just want to give my students like 2 choices, I'm just going to delete 2 wrong choices and then leave it like that. And if you're happy with that, you can go ahead and save that, preview it if you like, or save as is. And now you have that one question that only has 2 options available. As I deleted this, and it shows this little person, you customize it. You customized this, excuse me, and that little icon indicates that you made a change to the original. And so now you have this assignment saved to your library as well. So now you have a couple assessments in addition to the ones that GW has already created for you to use. Are there any questions about anything we've gone over so far, customizing or anything like that? No?
I don't see anything yet. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Me, Abby, or was that somebody else that wanted to jump in?
I don't know. Sorry. I was just going to say, so Christina showed how you can swap out one question for another. Maybe there's a question in the bank that you like better than another one. She also showed you how you can completely customize the question. And see where she just did that? It's always hovering over those 3 little dots. So in your list of questions, to be able to delete a question maybe that you don't want in your assessment, swap it, or to change it, you would hover over those 3 little dots. And if you wanted to change the order of questions, Christina, I believe you would also do that there by dragging, right?
Thank you. Great. Yes, absolutely. Sure.
So there's a question. Can you create a question from scratch without, starting from one of our own if they want to write their own new question?
Great question. And thank you, because I did forget to point that out. So thank you. Right under browse items. So if you wanted to go into one that you've already adjusted, such as this one, you can select create item, and now you get to create the item from scratch, not necessarily the whole assessment from scratch. So you can give it a title, add a question. And so let's say that you would like to add just a multiple choice question, for example, and then you can type up your own question. You went over it in your class and you want to make sure that the students actually learned. That's a great idea. And then you can provide the answer choices, select which one is the solution, and then you would go ahead and save that. And I wanted to point this out. Zin always reminds us of this. This guide me here is excellent. It'll actually show you what to do. Which is fabulous. So kind of when you're starting a new program in Google or something, it always has this kind of like step-by-step of things you can do. So first, select the guide me, and then you're going to ask your question or prompt, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a nice feature if you forget or don't have those how-to guides right next to you. So this will guide you through the steps of creating your own question.
Great. And we have another question in the chat, which is an excellent question, which I believe I can answer for you, Randall, so what other assignments would you be able to deliver through GW assessment? So like Christina showed you for this text and for most of our copyright 26s, what you have access to from our test bank library already is the exam for every chapter, which is going to have multiple choice questions for each learning outcome or learning objective in that chapter. And now for the first time, you also have pre and post assessments. So those are new for many of these titles. You might not have had access to those before. They are additional questions, and those can be assigned if you want to do it as a bell ringer for a pre-assessment or like an exit ticket or even just an activity or a pop quiz. If you do those kinds of things as a shorter test, you can do that. For select copyright 26 titles in our transportation area, if you are If your students are accessing the GW content from your learning management system, like Canvas or Schoology, which Christina's about to go into that experience in Canvas for you right now, you will have access to end of chapter questions as well. So I believe the know and understand is what some of those in certain titles, there will be additional questions within your textbook at the end of the chapter. Sometimes they're called review questions, sometimes they're called know and understand, sometimes there's application questions in there. That we're really excited at GW as we look forward to be able to offer those end of chapter questions within GW assessment for users who are accessing it in their learning management system. And so, like I said, we will have that available for some of our automotive titles that were copyright 26s. And as we look at our copyright 27 titles that will start publishing next fall and in the winter, those will have that functionality to have even larger test banks that are pulling from your end of chapter content as well. So great question, Randall. I don't know if you're an automotive instructor or not. If you're not, I think looking forward to our new editions coming out, you'll have opportunity to assign those via GW assessment if you're integrating in a learning management system.
Great, thank you. All right, so I spent a good amount of time in GW assessment itself, the platform itself, before jumping into the LMSs, because even with the LMSs, if you are interested in customizing the exams and not just using them as we've created them, you will be able to do that, but you will also be doing that in the GW assessment platform. So I want to make sure that you are comfortable with how this looks, how it's used. But now I'll go ahead and jump into Canvas. So just before instructors can use this in their learning management system, the digital solutions team will have to meet with, excuse me, the LMS admin just to set it up on the back end and make sure that you have access to what you need. So for anybody that's used our content before, that is slightly different. You may be used to using the exams that were sent, through the online instructor resources, but this is different. And so we will need to meet with the LMS administrator. So please know that ahead of time, kind of think of that ahead. If you're getting ready for the fall, I would suggest making sure you are set up, that GW has met with your admin, at least a week or so ahead of time before classes start, so you can use those assessments right away. So I won't go to get into how that is set up, just because we want to make sure the instructor knows how to use the instructor features. And you'll know that you are set up, though, if you're looking for a way to identify that. Let me just see a little bit. Is if in your course, let's say it's Canvas course, if you see G-W assessment here in your course, and it could be anywhere in this course navigation. If you see that here, that means that you are set up and you should be ready to go. I wanted to point out that same thing as always, in order to access any of our materials, whether it's the ebook or digital assets or the assessments, you will need to activate your subscription. And so for most of you, that is to enter an access key code. For some of you, that is just clicking on this instructor-activate your subscription, and you don't need an access key code, so I won't be entering an access key code for this demonstration. Now, if you see this link, G-W assessment, just don't want you to be confused about how to access it the right way. While this link may be in here, it is not the way that you're going to get access to the assessment. So if it says return your LMS access G-W assessment, just want you to know nothing wrong here. It just means you need to go about it the correct way. So you are activating by selecting your activate your subscription, entering your key code depending on how you access our materials. And then what you are going to do is you are going to jump right over to the G-W assessment link in the course navigation. Now, if you have already used some of our assessments, 2026, of course, you will start seeing a list of all of those assessments that you've created. But of course, for starters, you're not going to see anything here quite yet. So you will see over here, there's a help button. library. That's all of your assessments in your library. And then all of the textbooks. And so I want to look for print reading for construction or print reading for industry as well here. We'll just keep it consistent. And now it's starting to look like you are in the platform, right? So you are going to see the pre-assessment, the post-test, the exam, okay? So you can preview, you can print here, but we are going to actually assign it differently. The great thing about the LMS integration is that you are going to be able to get that grade pass back. I know I saw some instructors were interested in that, so wanted you to be aware that that is, the benefit of the LMS integration. But once you see G-W assessment here, you can still preview everything here. You're not going to be launched out into the platform itself. GW assessment will open within the Canvas LMS or Blackboard or whatever you're using, okay? So when you are ready to assign these assessments, you are going to jump over to the assignments link in the course navigation. I've already created some assessments, so, just ignore these for now. We are going to jump over to the add assignment over here. Now, you don't have to add a name for this because I plan on using the exams the way that GW has created them. So if you intend on doing that, go ahead and leave that as is, because the name will filter through. And then you're going to scroll down to the submission type. And typically it starts, it has online as the default, but we want to choose external tool. And then we're going to find the external tool, which is GW assessment. So now, as you can see, I have a number of titles here. So I want to make sure I'm searching for the one that is the course that I'm currently using. So print reading for industry, 12th edition. You could select a chapter. So I will choose chapter 3. And then you can see the pre-test, the post-test, and the exam right here. Again, you can preview it or you can assign it straight away. So I'll go ahead and assign it. Are you sure you want to assign this activity? Yes, I do. And then you're going to select that. And then we can go ahead and save and publish down here. And then let me just go back to the assignments. So you can see it's Unit 3. Should be at the bottom. So this is what I just created. That is Unit 3 pre-test. And that is right there. So we can view this as students if you wanted to just go through. That's a Canvas feature, of course. So same thing here. If you wanted to go through this just to see what the assessment looks like, what they would be seeing, you can go ahead and do that. Leave student view. You can see the outcomes here, but just wanted to make sure you were aware that once you assign it in the Canvas LMS or any of the other LMSs, you will be able to go to the grades, and then you'll be able to see that that has been added to your list of grades. So the most recent one I added was Unit 3 pre-test, print reading for industry, and it is ready for students to take and to receive a grade. Okay, so we assign it. We can view it in the grade book. And then we can see the results from that assignment, and I'll go back to that. And so you can see this here, student 1, 2, and 3. It'll show, color coded, which is always very nice. You'll notice that you can actually search for the results by item. So questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also search by standards, which is really great. You can see how well are the students doing on that 3.4 learning outcome. It's looking like not so great. However, 3.5 is looking pretty good. So I did well on that one. So this is a nice overview of how those learning outcomes are being achieved. So that's just kind of a quick overview. Just wanted to answer any questions before I continue working on customization, if there are any.
We had a few questions, but I think that they were answered in the chat. So I think we're good moving forward. I just wanted to know, I mean, I love having access to this report, which we never would have had access to before, because like Christina said, is it 3.4? If I'm going through here and I see, okay, learning outcome 3.4 is something that's on my certification exam, it's something that I think is really important for my students to know, but the overall course average isn't meeting expectations, then I know I can go back in and maybe create another pop quiz or make sure that I include other questions that still test that same learning outcome to give my students another chance to prove that they understand that knowledge.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So knowing that 3.4 is not looking so great, I'm thinking what I'm going to do as the instructor is I'm going to go back to my home here, and I'm going to go to GW assessments, and I'm going to go to this title in particular. And I am actually going to create an assessment. I would never do this for real, but I'm just going to do it here for fun. 3.4 help. And then I'm going to browse some items, and they need some additional assistance with Unit 3. So I'm going to filter down with Unit 3. I want to see those learning outcomes. Well, there's only one available, but that doesn't mean we can't add more for more learning outcomes. Isn't that right? Perhaps I would notice with the more assessments that there's actually more than just 3.4 that they need, in which case now I can get a nice kind of bulky exam. So let's see, we want to make sure that we get all of these that we just added, 3.4 for sure. And we'll leave it at that. So I'm going to select these 7 items. I'm going to save the assessment. And now you will see that this 3.4 help is listed in your list of assessments. So whereas in your library, you may see all the titles you have access to. If you choose the assessments option, you can see that you just created this one. So now I'm not going to choose this assign. I'm going to go back to assignments in Canvas. I'm going to add an assignment. And then I'm going to find the GW Assessment External Tool. My library, because I just created an assessment, and I'm going to assign that one I just created for the additional help based on the learning outcomes results. Select, save and publish. And view as a student. And now it is available for students now that I've published it. Any questions?
We just had the question, Christina's showing Canvas right now, but if you use another learning management system like D2L, Blackboard, Moodle, or Schoology, the same kind of functionality would work within your learning management system. So you would access the gradebook where you normally access your gradebook, and you'd still be able to see your students' scores on individual assessments, items, and learning outcomes.
Yes, great. You may be getting into this, Abby, but I thought it was just a nice way to point out that, yes, while I focused on Canvas, all of the features are pretty much the same in the different LMSs, and we do have how-to guides on all of those. So if you go to our support center, and we can go over step-by-step how to get to exactly where you need. There's always a search option in our support center, but here's the GW assessment section. If you are using Blackboard Learn or Ultra, Brightspace, Schoology, they're all listed here, and they will get you the guide that you need depending on the way that you access it.
And we had a question, can you shuffle the questions in Canvas? I would assume yes, right?
Yes, good question. Yes, this is the one in Canvas. Let me get back to that. That was an Edge that I was on. And now, let's see. Please students, sorry. Yes, you will be able to shuffle the questions, and you will also be able to change the number of attempts. As it stands right now, there are two options for the number of attempts. You can have the students just choose to take that test one time. That's it. That's the score, and that's what they get. If you choose multiple attempts, you are giving them an unlimited number of attempts to continue improving their grade. I know in Canvas, one of the features is that you can choose, like, specifically 2 attempts, specifically 4 attempts. As it stands right now, for GW assessment, it is either just 1 attempt or multiple attempts. And if Zan or anybody has anything to add with that I've missed, please feel free to do that. But as of right now, that's where the features are.
Okay, I just wanted to say too, I know, again, one of those things that people were interested in was how would I share out, if you make a beautiful assessment, it's like the best assessment, you worked on it, you added some custom questions, you swapped things out, you changed the order, and you're like very proud of it, and you want other instructors in your school to be able to use it, and those instructors also have adopted GW materials. Christina, you want to go into that?
Sure. So if you are a GW online user, the only way really to do that, since the only thing you are getting here is the ability to print and save as a PDF. Really, the only option is, if you send it as an attachment, share it, through Microsoft Office or Google, but there is no like collaborating together on GW assessment platform or anything like that. So that would be the option for the GW online one. As far as the Canvas or other LMSs, the good thing is that you can copy a course and it will copy over the assignments as well. So if you did in fact create your own assignment, like I did here, 3.4 health, and you wanted to copy this, copy to another one of your courses, send to, you could do it that way. If you plan, if you and a couple colleagues plan on having the exact same course layout, you can just copy all the course content over there. And then they will also have access to that modified assessment that you have created.
Okay, great. I think those are the questions. Do you mind if I pop back into the PowerPoint quickly to wrap things up?
No problem. There was one thing I wanted to point out. And I meant to say it earlier, but wanted to make it clear that for any of the GW online users, this really is just an instructor only resource as far as the online portion. So it's not like, it's similar to ExamView if you're used to using ExamView, in the sense that the instructor has access to the platform. They can edit it, they can customize it. It's not like an exam will open up in GW assessment and the students have access to that. So we wanted to make that clear. This is the instructor's tool that they will be able to modify and send to their students, print and hand out to their students. Just wanted to make that clear. That is, of course, different for LMS users because they already have access to your course and they take these assignments digitally. So wanted to point that out. And if there's any questions, feel free to add to the chat. But Abby, feel free to go ahead and continue.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect segue. So yeah, Christina showed you a lot of things today, both accessing, customizing, printing assessments from your online textbook site, as well as how to do all of those things and also see enhanced reports and have students automatically be able to take those assessments online if you're integrating those into your learning management system. So we just wanted to be clear, we're happy to have our educational consultant or our digital specialist work with you to figure out what is going to work best with your course. The first option is if you do not have a learning management system like Canvas, Blackboard, Schoology, D2L, or Moodle, I think I hit the main ones, or Canvas, then your students will be taking their assessments in print, or you can customize your assessment and send it to them as a PDF. If you are integrating GW content into your learning management system, there are additional benefits that Christina showed you, which is students will be able to take those assessments online. They can get instant feedback. You will have those questions be able to be auto-graded and go right into your grade book within your learning management system. And in addition to just seeing the students' grades on those items, because all of our questions are tied to the learning outcomes that you'll see in your book and your lesson plans, you'll also be able to have that report where you can see how students are mastering their learning outcomes. So if your school is using a learning management system and you already are entering your grades in there anyway, you might want to discuss with your educational consultant on how to make sure that you're ordering appropriately so that your students will also access GW content from your learning management system. If that's not something that your school has or not something that you need, and you love having your assessments printed for your students, shuffling questions and have multiple versions, then the normal process through your online instructor resources site will certainly help you to do that. Great. So thank you so much for, hopping on during the summer with us. If you have other questions, there were a lot of great ones in the chat. I do believe we answered all of those, but if you feel like you have another question that was not answered, you can put that in the chat. We will send you the recording of this webinar afterwards, as well as links to these things, which Christina showed you on the right. We have a lot of tools for you to be able to have step-by-step, whether that's a video or a PDF with screenshots, how to do everything in GW assessment, as well as for our online instructor resources in general. If you haven't seen our knowledge-based articles in the past, from that site, you can also submit a ticket if you want to talk to someone like Christina, who can walk you through how to use our resources. But if you have not made a purchase for a copyright 26 title or beyond, if you're interested in seeing what titles do have GW assessment available from them and you want to connect with an educational consultant to discuss that with you, you can scan the code on the left, which takes you to explore.g-w.com/GW_assessment. And that gives you a full video tour and allows you to connect with your educational consultant on those next steps. We hope you all have an amazing start to your fall classes, that you have the best students who are passionate and excited about their careers, and that you have easy access to your resources. So thank you so much for your time today. For those who are listening to the recording, we'll make sure that you have these links as well. And have a great evening.